and welcome to my presentation. My name is Ashley Matyszewski and I'll be doing my presentation on the ozone layer. So some topics that we're going to discuss today include just a general overview of the ozone layer and ozone hole. We're going to talk about amphibian development and the Montreal Protocol. So just an introduction to what the ozone layer is. The ozone is made up of 3 different oxygen atoms, and we just see their resonance structures here. As you can see, we have 1 double bond and 1 single bond, and yeah, that's just their structures. They're in a bent position. So the ozone layer occurs in the stratosphere. It occurs about 10 kilometers to 35 kilometers above Earth's surface, and its main purpose for us is to protect us from the sun's radiation, from the UVB rays and ultraviolet sunlight on Earth. So the ozone hole so the amount of ozone over polar regions is usually higher over polar regions than in temperate regions. The ozone hole occurs when concentrations of the ozone are lower in the stratosphere and it's almost 0. And in the early spring of Antarctica, it occurs between September and October, and then in summer the ozone hole starts to close. So here's just a picture of the ozone layer being really thin around Antarctica. Everywhere else is a little bit thicker around there, and we just see how over here there is an ozone recovery zone, and in summertime it will eventually close or become a little bit stronger. So what happened to the ozone hole or layer to cause a hole? We have chlorofluorocarbons. They contain chlorine, fluorine, and carbon. And these chemicals were invented for cooling purposes, so in refrigerators, air conditioners, or other cooling appliances that you might think of. And hydrochlorofluorocarbons are nearly 2,000 times more potent than carbon dioxide. So this has a huge effect in global warming potential. So my other topic is amphibian development. So amphibians inhabit both the aquatic and terrestrial habitats. They have permeable skin and unshelled eggs. As you can see here, they don't have a coating, and you can just kind of see right through them. And they live in shallower water, so they're more vulnerable to the UV rays than other animals. And they're very vulnerable to changes in their habitat. So some problems that happen with amphibian development occur when the UVB, or when they're exposed to UVB rays. Such things like spinal curvature can happen, edema, eye and limb malformations can occur, and some severe effects include decreased reproductive capacity and impaired larval development. And even with some of the less severe effects, it can still impair the amphibian's lifespan and lifetime and ability to survive longer. So with increased exposure to UVB light, it can be lethal because amphibians don't have adequate defense mechanisms to protect themselves in water from this radiation. As I said before, they normally occur in shallow waters where they can't escape that type of radiation, as well as other animals. And amphibian populations have been declining in recent years and continue to decline on a global scale, and since about the 1950s, has been recorded that amphibians populations have declined. As you can see by this chart, it was recorded in 1950 all the way to about the 2000s, and we kind of see a steady decline of their population over time. So they are more threatened. Their populations are more threatened than other animals such as mammals or birds. And my second topic is about the Montreal Protocol. So it was finalized in 1987. It is a environmental agreement to stop the use or production of ozone depleting substances into the earth. So when released into the atmosphere, ozone depleting chemicals damage the stratosphere and the ozone layer. And so the Montreal Protocol makes countries phase out these ozone depleting chemicals depending on their circumstances. Developed countries versus undeveloped or developing countries have different timelines and responsibilities based on when they have to phase out these chemicals. So all parties have the responsibility to phase out different groups of ozone depleting substances. They have to control the chemicals, and they have to report data and different imports and exports of these chemicals they have a responsibility to report this. And just a quick summary of everything that we just talked about. The ozone layer protects human and animal life from the UVB rays. So without it, skin cancer is a big deal, and of course it affects amphibian populations. And when there's lower concentration of ozones, it is harmful to the amphibian populations that cause serious malformations. And to help stop the ozone layer from getting worse, the Montreal Protocol helps with the banning of the ozone depleting substances. So thank you for watching my presentation, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. And these are just my references for everything. Thank you.